Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller, and today I have a wonderful guest, Chelsea Lee Fowler. We're kind of got the Lee going on, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yes. I love it. I love that you put Lee in there because that does make me feel like we're connected a little bit in that Lee.
Yes.
Yeah.
When Garrett and I first started talking, I was like, everyone calls me Logan Lee. Like, that's just Chelsea Lee kind of flows.
Yes,
Logan Lee. I was like, I want to keep my last name. Like, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm keeping my last name. You know? And so, but my first name is actually Taylor. And
so Logan's your middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Logan and then your middle name Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess I just didn't know what your last name was before, but Miller obviously now.
Yeah.
But that's neat.
Yes.
Oh.
So, but I go by like Logan.
I love Logan though. I love that name. I'm so glad you go by that because I love it's like a unisex name. So I love the names like Alex and like Paxton and Peyton and stuff like that. Like I wish I had a more masculine name sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I really do because I just love it. I like it.
Now, Lee, is that your middle name?
It's my middle name.
Mm-hmm. See,
yep.
Most people, they assume mine is my middle name.
Yes, and people assume mine is my last name, so it's funny how it's like different.
Yeah, I thought it was your last name.
Yeah. I'm like, no, it's Chelsea Lee.
I love that though. I think that's great. So, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Chelsea and I actually met at the gym. We worked out for 2 years together. Never talked.
It was like together but kind of separate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was going through it. I had just graduated. I was like doing things. I didn't talk to nobody at the gym.
Yeah.
I cried. One time I cried on the treadmill. Like, And Chelsea, one thing I noticed about her is she talked to like almost everyone at the gym.
Yeah.
She was so friendly. I just remember like there was this older gentleman. I just remember he was like doing arms and then he stopped doing his reps to talk to you. Like we were walking past and he literally stopped what he was doing to talk to you.
Oh yeah.
I was like, man, like she talked to everyone. I tried to work up the confidence. I literally like told myself like every time I went to the gym, I was like, I've got to just like talk to her. I've just got to like say something. Never did.
Oh, that's funny.
And then we both switched gyms. Like there was a new gym that had started and I saw her there. And I was like, I've got to just say something. I just got to say something. And so I think I caught you on the treadmill. I don't know. You were like,
I think I was doing something. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was doing something. Yep. And you approached me because I was like, it's
like,
her.
Hi. Like, I think I know you, but I'd like to know you.
That's so awesome because I feel that way about people I see all the time, and it's just so weird being like on the receiving end of that because I do think I'm friendly and approachable, but then I like catch glimpses of myself in the mirror and I'm just like, you do not look friendly, you do not look approachable, like why is your face like that? Just like soften the lines, girl, because you look so angry right now. And so I am so glad that you came up to approach me because I do remember seeing you at Planet Fitness all the time, and you know, you just like, you look at other bodies sometimes and you just like, you compare yourself to them and I just remember thinking like, I wish I had like you had like the hourglass shape on. Yes, girl, and like your leggings and stuff. I thought they were the cutest ones, the ones that you hated.
Yeah.
Because I remember we talked about that. I loved them.
These were like the LuLaRoe leggings. I got them for discount, like $5 a piece. They were so ugly.
They were bright and colorful. I thought they were just amazing because you would wear like a black, something that was like neutral color and then just these like bright
leggings.
Colorful pants. I loved them. I thought they were cool. I thought they were so cool.
Literally, if you're a longtime listener, you remember me talking about going to the gym, wearing these ugly ass leggings, and if I wore them out, I got to buy like new leggings. That was my.
That's funny. Yes. So, like they were your. Oh my god, that shows you what kind of taste I have.
No. I would tell myself, okay, like I tore holes in every single one of them just by wearing them out, by going to the gym. I was like, you cannot spend money on new leggings if you're not going to make this a commitment. Like, if you're not going to commit to your gym, like, you can't spend that coin. Like, you got to wear what you have until you can afford it.
No, that makes sense because it does motivate you to actually go out and do it. I was the same way with my clothing because I had, like, baggy sweatpants and, like, some of the things that I've made myself buy, especially, like, those crop top and, like not skimpy per se, but like something that's gonna make you breathe more breathable in the gym. Like people don't realize, women don't dress in the sports bras and the shorts and stuff like that for like the male gaze.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's hot and you sweat, man. Like I want to feel comfortable,
Plus I want to look at myself though, like
yes.
in the mirror, like ooh.
I motivate so much better if I can see things like jiggle on my body. If I can like watch it happen, I'm like, okay, you can go that extra mile because don't you want that to be like a little tighter?
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah. So like it motivates me to see that too.
All
yeah.
motivation. Or like even my form. Like, if I'm wearing a very, very baggy shirt, which that's usually my go-to.
That's what's comfortable.
I can't see what's going on. I can't see the range of motion.
Yes.
And where we go to the gym at, the owner is in leggings. Like he wears leggings.
Yeah.
You can see his muscles better. Like he's warm. He can see his form, and I think
that's important. Yeah, you have to be able to see your form. And then to like make yourself get out of your comfort zone a little bit, that's a big part of like personal growth.
Oh my gosh.
You have to make yourself uncomfortable sometimes in order to grow. So like wearing the things that you might not normally wear, or just doing those little things to motivate yourself is so important to your personal growth. So
yes, of course. Have you always been in the gym? Like have you always worked out, or is it something like a goal that you initiated for yourself?
So when I was younger, I did struggle with my weight a lot. When I was a kid, I did a lot of stress eating and stuff, and I didn't understand. You don't have tech the way that we do now. Like everything is at my fingertips. So if I wanted like an ab workout or a different kind of way to eat or something, or any kind of like general knowledge, it's just at my fingertips. So when I was younger, I just didn't know how to eat. I didn't know that what I was eating was bad. Being like in the 90s, they had like a lot of like preservatives and a lot of stuff was like, just okay, it's fine, just eat it, it's okay. Like we don't know if it's good or bad for you, but like we put the stamp of approval on it, so just like eat it. So like we just ate whatever, oatmeal cream pies and Twinkies, and if you're a kid, you have a choice, you're gonna choose the Twinkies,
The TV tray.
Yes.
Like the little, and I forget what they were called, but they were like marketed towards kids.
Yes, like you said, you had like your Dino Nuggies
yes.
and like your little things, and like even the stuff that you thought was good for you still had like mad preservatives in it. So it's still like salt and these chemicals and stuff. So like at the end of the day, nothing I ate was healthy. It wasn't until I got pregnant with my first son, I was on just a really bad path when I was younger. I didn't have a lot of direction, and I didn't really know, because of my weight and just kind of the way that I looked and the way that I had a very low self-esteem coming from where I came from, and got pregnant at a very early age. And when I had to start kind of living for someone else, it was like, okay, well, this isn't just your life anymore. You can't keep partying the way that you are and eating the way that you are and kind of doing the things that you're doing. So it was a slow process getting into the gym because there was a lot of other things that I had to overcome. I smoked cigarettes. Me and his father, like we drank and we partied and stuff together. It was I was 18, when I had him. So like it was very between my 18 to like early 20s, I spent trying to like, quit smoking cigarettes and change careers, and like just started get into those databases like the library and stuff where I could get knowledge. I didn't even know what Wi-Fi was until I was like 21. So like that's how little I was on social media and utilized technology. So when I discovered it, that really opened up a lot of doors. You start learning about people and their confidence, and you have so many influencers now these days. Like we were talking earlier, it's so easy to focus on the negative, but there's so many people out there who are preaching positivity, and not just in general mindset, but like towards your own body. And having things like that over the past few years has really helped me. And getting out of the last relationship I was in, that was my main goal. When I left that and I moved to Warrensburg, it was like my focus was going to be being single, going into the career that I wanted to go into, taking care of my kids, and focusing on my mental and physical health. Yeah. Those were like the most important things to me. And so it started at Planet Fitness, and just it's kind of gone from there. So it started a long time ago, just changing that mindset. And it sometimes it takes a while, you know what I mean? You have a lot of outside influences, and if those influences aren't positive, I talk about the relationship I was in. It was such a volatile relationship, and it impacted my mental health in such a way that it took a lot of time. And it's still one of those things where it's like I have a memory, or you kind of go back into that time, it takes a while to deprogram some of the things that you learn about yourself that aren't really true, like you're unattractive, or no matter what you do you'll still be fat, like, or or whatever the case may be. But you can learn over time how to like change the way your brain thinks about yourself, and then when you feel differently about yourself, you care a little bit less about those voices. So it wasn't something I always was passionate about, but like yoga and things like that, I am so passionate about it now, because it's just that's why I love hanging out with people like you, because it's easy to relate to, you know what I mean, like just being in the gym and feeling those good effects from it. So it wasn't something I always was, but yeah, now if I miss the gym on my rest days, I feel so off, because I'm like, well, what do I do? Like just sit on your hands for that routine hour. So journaling and stuff is always good too. Good way to...
So it sounds, I mean, you've gone through a huge transformation, from when you were 18 to where you are now, and the personal growth that it took to get to where you are. What helped? What were the tools that you implemented and used? Because sometimes our partners are not always on the same path or mindset. I know you and that partner are no longer together for various reasons, but sometimes it can be hard if you are living with your parents, or your roommates. They don't have the same lifestyle, they don't have the same goals. Plus you have a little baby that you have to take care of as well. So what were some of like your nitty-gritty goal or things that you did to help you reach your goals? Like,
oh, that's a great question. So just starting out, I knew obviously environment plays a huge role in your mental health, but you can't control certain things. Like with that situation, he was an abusive man. He wasn't my family. We were not married. We just lived together as life partners or whatever. And so when I knew that I wanted to make that change, it was very easy for me. I was already pretty disconnected at that point, the day that I had kind of left and we moved. So when it kind of came down to it was easy for me to pack up and leave. So like what do you do in those cases when the person is like your roommate or your mom? I currently live with my mother in split level. Like we share a space. She has the basement and I have the upstairs with my children, and she doesn't like to go to the gym. She doesn't like to sweat. Yeah, she's from the 60s, and not from the 60s, but she was born in a time where it was like cigarettes were okay. So she is a cigarette smoker no matter what you do. Sometimes people they are what they are, or they they're going to do what they want to do. So you cannot control what you can't control. That was probably the toughest realization for me, because I would try so hard with like my ex, and I just didn't understand like why. Like I am here for you. I'm doing so much. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm working, I'm going to school, I'm raising our children. Like why can we not just be on the same page? And it would upset me so much, and you just can't control those things. If someone isn't on the same page as you, if they don't want to go to the gym with you, that's fine. You can go to the gym by yourself, but if they're like actively trying to go out of their way to like deter your growth, that's when you have to decide whether or not the relationship is worth keeping up on. Because it's okay to have like a difference of opinion. Not everyone, like my mom, she don't like to sweat. Okay, you don't have to do that. That's fine. But if she were to be like, well, just skip the gym today. Like let's just do this or something instead. Like if she was trying to deter my growth, that's when I'd have to be like, okay, is this something, that I can hang on to? Have I discussed the boundaries with her? Is she respecting it after we've discussed it? If not, then, then it kind of starts to go into like a toxic area. And anytime something that's toxic for you in your body and your life, you need to like take care of that, because you're not going to be able to grow and thrive in an environment that's toxic for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So just not focusing on things I couldn't control was the biggest thing. Between 18 and 24, so much happened in between that time, so it's hard to say. Really focusing on myself. When I came down here, after I was with my son, so I have two sons by two different men, and both times I tried to make the family with them. I tried to be with them each about 4 years apiece is what I spent with them, which is probably more than enough time to know that you're not going to be with a person, but I was a very much for the kids type of person. Like, we're going to stay together, we're going to make this work. I want my children to have a dad, I want them to have a father figure, and it's still something that I would like for them to have, but it's not as big of a priority to me for them to have a dad so much as it is for them just to at least have one parent who has mental clarity and their best interest. I can't do all the things that a man can do, but I can make sure that my kids are at least in a stable environment where they don't have to have somebody hindering their growth as well, you know, so. And that can be tough. A lot of people, you know, suffer from like codependency and stuff like that. So if you are one of those people who are just very codependent, you just have to find relationships that are like good for your dependency, because if not, it's gonna be draining. Yeah. So draining.
I know for myself, like I do have some codependency tendencies where, you know, have you ever heard of body doubling, where you like put, if you have your friend come over, you can clean the house better because they're there, right?
Right, yes.
Or, you know, and so sometimes like I can't sleep well if Garrett's not here because it's that body doubling, like, oh my gosh, like I'm not alone, right?
Yes,
like,
yes.
And so for me, I've had to really work on that. Garrett has work trips that he like goes and he's gone, or he goes on trips, and I'm like, I am independent. I will be fine.
Yes.
Like, but it's hard. It is
Yes.
so hard to not be as dependent, or like, oh, what are we doing this weekend? You know, and
Sure.
I do think that Garrett and I have a healthy relationship. Like, you know, we've been together since college, and I think we've grown together very nicely, right? Like,
sure,
our goals and whatnot. But it can be tough. Like, when Garrett and I were in college, we'd watch Netflix and order takeout, you know? Like, I don't think we worked out once together, like, ever. And then, you know, we went to Vegas for my dad's birthday, and I made him work out in the hotel room with me. Like, we were doing a workout. We did like a HIIT workout. It was great.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a tough one starting out. And at a hotel in Las Vegas, like, I'm surprised y'all were able to get out of bed.
No drinking either. Like, we didn't drink the entire weekend because we were doing 75 hard.
Oh, wow.
So, no drinking in Vegas at all.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Maybe it would have been a little easier if y'all weren't drinking,
I
but
know.
still, anytime you're in a big, comfortable bed, it would be tough to get out of. Yeah.
So we got out, we did our workout, 45 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, we did like a HIIT workout and then yoga. But like, if you would have asked us to do that when we were, you know, 20 and 23, wouldn't have happened. You know?
Right, yes.
It's all about that. You want to grow together if it's going to be like that good relationship,
yes.
and help you on your goals and what you want to do. So that's awesome. So moving your two little boys to our town and starting out, that's a big change. Where did you, what state were you in originally?
So we lived in Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yes, that is still, that's huge to be moving state to state.
Yeah.
I know that your sister lived here, and so you had like a little connection, right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
But what was it like going through that and saying, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna uproot us, we're going?
So that was actually a really crazy day, and so I talk about it often, you know, but sometimes it's just insane that was my life, that the life that I lived up until I moved here was not just like fake and somebody else's existence.
Yes.
You know, because it was like, this guy, I just can't express the craziness from this person, but one thing that I always have to like start this story is this detective, I can't remember his name, but he always said, if someone's going to verbally abuse you, they'll physically abuse you. If they'll physically abuse you, they'll kill you. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Mm-hmm. And so our relationship had just gotten, I mean, it started off pretty toxic from the jump, but by the time I realized that there was all of these secrets about this man and these things I didn't know about him, we were already kind of pregnant, like, not kind of pregnant, like,
I was like already kind of pregnant.
Get kind of pregnant, right? I was already very pregnant with this baby, and we ended up like losing our house. Oh gosh, again, like I could do a couple hour podcast just on this relationship alone, because being so young and just wanting what I wanted, you know, we grew up watching Disney, and like the princess and the prince comes in and saves the day, and you know, in my mind, that's what he was for me. He had watched me be a single mom to my oldest son, and he was like, you can quit your job, I will take care of us. He was offering all of these things that just, in my mind, it sounded so good. Like I wanted to just stay home and raise my kids the way that my mother got to. But you know, all of these things kind of unfolded, and we ended up being homeless for a while. We ended up moving to Nebraska while I was there, trying to go to school and do all of these things, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And, you know, you just kind of hope things get better, and just, you know, things, you know, it just, it got so toxic, and the last thing that this man said to me was, we were fighting about my car, just a little car that I have out there right now. It was the only legal vehicle we had, because again, there was just so much craziness that happened, but we were fighting about my car and how I didn't want him to take it to work. He was very promiscuous. He cheated all the time, and I found out that he had cheated with me. It was someone in that vehicle, and I was like, "You're not taking my car." It was this whole thing, and I just remember him standing there. He was 6'5", over 200 pounds, just in my face, and he was like, "Women like you get murdered by men like me every single day."
Oh my gosh.
And I just remember, as soon as he left the house, I was like, "You know what? Take the car. I don't even care." As soon as he said that, I knew that I was like, and at that point, he had already been screaming at me. My kids were awake. They were crying. We were all crying. It was like, he worked night, so it was like midnight. It was like the middle of the night. And
oh my gosh.
he said that and then left. And I called my mom and woke her up out of her sleep. And I said, "I really don't think I have a lot of time to spare.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do?" And she had actually left her spouse at the time. She was living with my sister, and she was cleaning the house that we currently live in. We have a landlord. She was cleaning the house for him, and he was wanting to, sell it, but there was so many issues. He just didn't want to put it on the market. There was a lot that he needed to fix, and he didn't have the time or the money at the time. And my mom was like, "Well, hey, can maybe me and my daughter come rent this space from you? Like, we can come up with the money." And I had been kind of saving and, just trying to. I told the universe, like, I want out. I'm so big on manifesting, and I talk about it constantly just because when I was done, I told the universe, I was like, "I'm done. I want out of here. I want to be able to, I want my freedom." I wanted to become a realtor, and he was one of the people in my life that was like, "We can't afford it. You're never going to be able to do it. We don't have the time. I can't support you while you do that." Because I'd always worked in sales, and I was like, I love this so much, but I want to do it bigger. And so when he said that to me and left, and I called my mom and she had the space, I immediately started packing. So I knew that I needed my important documents, and if you ever go to Survival House, they'll talk to you. Well, I know we haven't mentioned Survival House, but if you go to a domestic abuse shelter, they'll tell you, grab your important stuff, grab your documentation. You can replace your clothes, you can replace furniture and things like that, but you can't replace, it's harder to get like your birth certificate and your social and your important stuff. So I gathered our important things, some of our clothing, and just waited for him to come home, waited for him to go hide away in his room. He would play video games, he would text other girls, like he would just do whatever he wanted to do. So when he came in and put his headphones on, I knew that was the amount of time, like I had a little bit of time to get my stuff packed up. And so that's what I did. Took my oldest son to school. I came back to the house. I had put all of our clothing and stuff in the laundry room. Like, he never did laundry, he never did anything. So like, I knew I could just put it all in there and he wouldn't be suspicious about anything. So when he went in there and got quiet, I loaded up our car. Got my youngest son. We went to my oldest son's school. I explained to him that we had some personal issues and that he wouldn't be back. And we filled up the tank and we headed to Warrensburg.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the whole time it just felt like, like when you hold your breath underwater and you come up for that breath, like, that's how it felt. It felt like this huge weight. You're scared and you're nervous because you don't know what to expect, but it's got to be immensely better than where you're coming from. So like, even though I had never seen the town, I had never seen the home, I knew there was there was fleas and stuff in the home. We had to get the carpet and stuff changed and make special sleeping arrangements. I knew that everything that I was going to have to deal with when I got here was going to be better than what I was dealing with in Nebraska. So it was a good feeling. It was intense, but it was by far one of the best days of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I thank you so much for sharing that. And it can be sometimes so tough to go back when you're recalling memories and talking about it.
Makes you shaky.
It makes you shaky, and it's hard. I applaud you for being able to share it, because that is definitely a scary situation, and you almost have to relive it every time you share it. So I appreciate you, and I thank you for feeling like you can be vulnerable and share that, because so many women and men out there, are in environments and things that they don't think it's going to get better. They want it to get better, but just having that courage to make a clean break and just start over. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of guts, but sometimes having other people hear your story and what you went through can give them the empowerment to, okay, like if she can do it, I can do it. I can, you know, break up with this person, I can leave, I can start anew, even if there's going to be struggles, because I know you're a self-built woman, you know, you definitely, you know, you talk about you went to be a real estate agent, well, you got your real estate license and you're successful in that, but it takes a lot of guts, and also the unknowing of, can I be successful at this? Can I do it? Can I get it there? And Tony Robbins, actually, I know we talked a little bit about his little seminar that he did. He had a gal talk about losing a child. She lost her little 3-year-old to childhood cancer, and she was talking about, Tony always says, make your worst day your greatest day, because that's how you grow. That's how, you know, even though you would never wish that on anybody, but when we're handed bad things, when, you know, tough situations and things happen, they're not happening to us, they're happening for us, you know. Who knows if you wouldn't have had the courage to just start anew, you know, what would you be doing? Oh,
I already know what I'd be doing. He had gotten a girl pregnant, so I would have had to spend the whole pandemic dealing with him and his baby mama drama.
Oh my gosh.
That's how bad it was. Crazy. That's how bad it was, yes. And even that, like, having the courage, like, you don't know what's going on. Nobody would have predicted there was like a whole global pandemic, you know, before I moved down here. That was just so crazy. It was all, but I think when I first, so I do share my story more openly now. But the first couple of times it was difficult for me to get through it without crying, because like you said, it does take you back to that moment. And I was honestly really ashamed and very embarrassed that I allowed myself to go through those things. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is that, like, that's just the environment I grew up in. My dad was really physically abusive to my siblings and my mom. And when you feel like it's just a normal part of your life, it takes you a little bit to kind of realize, like, other people don't deal with this. Like, when I would talk to people about, you know, my situation and stuff, like, I couldn't have certain conversations with people because I'm like, even in my own head, I'm like, that's really too intense just for, like, how was your day? And it's like, well, my day actually was really bad. It was actually really terrible. I'm not fine. But you're just like, yeah, it's good. It's great. Yeah, see you guys later, you know? So, like, I had to just come to the realization that who I was making those decisions is not the same person I am today. Like, I wanted so desperately just to have a family for my sons. And, you know, just, again, thinking that some certain behaviors and mannerisms were, like, actually normal. It took a while to, you know, again, with the deprogram, it took a while to realize that, like, you know, I'm not the same person, and I don't have to feel embarrassed. I don't have to feel ashamed, because honestly, I had spent so much of my life being brainwashed into thinking that, for one, my dad was very misogynistic. He just generally believed women were less than men. So, like, growing up in an environment where being a woman, feeling like I was already, like, less than these men who were, like, treating me so poorly, it tears you down to just such a low version of yourself that you really have to, like, scratch and claw your way into a different version. And doing things that make you uncomfortable, like talking about it, is the only way that you're gonna, like, get it out. And I had to do a lot of journaling when I first moved here. Yeah, it was a lot of, like, my sister sends me videos, and one of them was like, if it still makes you cry, you gotta write it down. So, like, just writing things down that just bothered me to that extent and just getting it out of my brain was such a good tool. And I promote journaling to anybody and everybody, because it is just such a good way, even if it's just, you know, it's December 2nd, you know, and all I did was wash my hair and Jonathan looked at me, you know, and, like, whatever it is, it's like getting it out there. It's, you know, it could be like your 13-year-old self again, it doesn't matter, just get it out and how you feel. But
it's January 4th. You said December.
So I don't know what day it is.
It's February.
See, you don't know either. I just meant, like, whatever day you decide to journal, that's the date that you should write. Don't go by the dates that we say, because we don't even know. But
I love journaling. I have a 5-minute journal that I do. It's like the very on brand, like it was all over TikTok, like it was very, like I loved it though. But it talks about, you know, like what 3 things I'm grateful for, and then it says what are 3 things that would make today great, and then it talks a little bit about, like, listing. It says I am, so, like, I always say I am abundant, I am kind, you know, I'm a money magnet, you know. Yes. Oh,
affirmations. Yes.
And then at the end of the day, it's like 3 things that happened great, what could have made today better. So I definitely think getting your thoughts on paper, that's why I always write down just a few notes for my podcast, because it is very therapeutic, like getting it out of your head, getting it on paper. They say a problem written down is half solved, you know, when you can just write it down. So I love journaling personally. There's something you say though. You say, do the thing, have the power. Tell a little bit about that.
Yeah. So just in listening to motivational speakers, and I'm so glad you mentioned affirmations because I cannot believe I haven't brought those up yet. Deprogramming, that's like the best way to deprogram your brain. So like before I go to the gym, I try to listen to affirmations. I listen to them especially when I first got here, we had nothing else to do during the pandemic. I would listen to affirmations for so long. I would take like 45-minute walks because really you have to hear yourself, and it's like your internal voice and also someone else at the same time telling you, you are a money magnet, you are worth it, you are, you know, great and good, and all these positive things, like they are so important. So I'm glad you mentioned affirmations because I can't stress what affirmations have done for me enough, just having a positive voice in my head. So I listen to a lot of motivational speakers, and I can't remember who specifically was the lady who said this, but she said, do the thing, have the power. So I know I kind of told you a little bit about how that applied to me today, so I'll share it now. Just, you know, you wake up and it's like a gloomy, cloudy Saturday. We have had this podcast scheduled twice already, you know. Yeah, which is fine because life happens, it comes up or whatever. But I woke up today and like I had a slight headache, but it wasn't like a fever, and it wasn't like, you know, it was mostly just because it was like a rough night's sleep, and you get up early and you go to the gym and you're just kind of like bogged down a little bit by like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So you know, it would have been really easy for me to text you and be like, hey, let's just like third time's the charm, let's just reschedule one more, you know. But then I always have that, and honestly I kind of want to get it like tattooed somewhere where I can see it, because every time I have a day like that where, you know, it's just something I don't want to do, if you do the thing, you're gonna have the power. So like if you get up in the morning and you don't want to go to the gym, maybe
you got to now.
Just do it. You got to. I remember I have a YouTube video channel, and I was sitting there recording like myself talking, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna go to the gym today, you know, but if I do the thing, I'll have the power, but I still don't. And then I had to like pause, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to the gym because I can't not go now. Because you want, you know, it's power is important. It gives you confidence.
It's keeping a promise to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to the gym for a certain reason. Obviously you have a goal that you want to reach. If your goal is to like read 5 pages or 10 pages of a good book, if your goal is to start journaling, like whatever your goal is, there's a reason you're doing it. You didn't just wake up one day and think, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. Why are you going to the gym? Are you having heart problems? Are you having like digestional issues? Are you just wanting to lose weight? Are you like joint problems? Like, why are you doing it? There's a reason behind every decision you make. And so if you remind yourself why you're doing it, like do the thing, have the power, then you have no excuses. You know what I mean? Like my head didn't hurt so bad that I couldn't take a Tylenol and like just drive over here and do this. This is fun. And every time I go and I get it out of the way, I feel so much better. You know what I mean? Than if I had called and been like, oh, my head hurts. Chances are in like an hour or two, my headache would have been gone. And then I would have been sitting on my hands all day because I would have been like, oh, you could have gone. You could have done it and you just didn't. So like you took power from yourself by not doing the thing. So
are you a little bit introverted then? Like, do you feel, I also am the same.
I'm like a really outgoing introvert. So like I have learned through reading, and you know, I was so shy when I was growing up. I would literally not talk to anybody. So it's so funny when people see me now, like they have no idea that started in like my late 20s. Or actually, I guess it started in customer service, like working at restaurants. You really have to talk to people in customer service. So like you just kind of learn how to do it. So just, and also like reading in books when I came down here, learning more about communication so I could be better at sales and things like that. You just learn how to talk to people. So no, I would much rather be at home in my sweatpants, watching TV, eating popcorn, but I still have a very outgoing personality when it comes to like dealing with people, because that's,
you have just, to, that's
just it. That's my job. I also heard somebody say that people remember you more. If you have a positive disposition and you walk into a room smiling, you are more memorable to people than if you come into the room and you're like, you know, sad or just like however it might be or whatever. So like I want to be a face that people remember you know,
bright
so I
light.
try to, a bright light, I just want to be a good, you know, positive light of positivity in people's lives, for sure.
That's so good, yes. One thing you said that has really changed how I think is, you know, being outgoing and cold calling. So you say, I'm calling my money, where you're like dialing. I've used that so many times since our conversation that day.
Good.
And I've even told like a few other individuals on how to think about cold calling. Because you are in the real estate business and your connections mean the most, and talking to people and being rememberable, because I mean, real estate is hot right now. You know, everyone after, you know, there's been real estate TV shows, and like Selling Sunset was really big, and
still
so
really big.
It's still really big. So it's like that competition, and how to set yourself apart from your competition. So you have to be outgoing. You have to be on, and you have to, you know, show up as your very best self. You know, the best version of you.
And I do want to clarify, it's not that I don't see the clients as the money. It's more like, that's my way of like, I mean, my clients are obviously people, and I handle them. I try to handle each transaction as if it was me on that side, and I'm like an outside person, you know, who like, how would I want to be represented? Like, every transaction is like, how would I want this to be handled? So I try to, you know, but in order to make it easier for me to cold call, I will say, I am calling my money. Because if I don't, I might not do it. If I think it's another person on this line, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'll just call you back. It's fine. I'm sorry I wasted your time. Bye.
Do you have a house?
Yeah, but instead I'm like, hey girl, because like me and Money, we're best friends. All right, we are best friends. So it's easy for me to call Money and be like, hey, what's up?
Hey, how are you? The connection. Networking is also a huge part of your job. I mean, that's kind of how we got together, just networking. And when you're going into, you know, an environment where you're trying to network, what's like your go-to tip to break the ice, to just like get to know someone?
People like genuine compliments about themselves. So usually when I'm approaching someone, whether I've known them forever or it's my first time, usually you can tell when someone's done something to put effort in themselves. You know what I mean? Like, if I see a woman who's gotten her nails done, like, nails have gone from $25 to $100
I know.
If I see a woman and she's got her nails done, or she's got like a new piece of jewelry, or a man's wearing like a nice cologne, or maybe he's gotten like a fresh haircut, and you can tell like anything that you can find on a person where you could just be like, hey, how are you? Oh my gosh, I love your nails. Well, you smell really nice. Like, people put effort into themselves for a reason. They want that to be noticed. So like, one of my biggest tips to immediately kind of break the ice and make people feel comfortable is to like look them in the eyes, smile really big, shake their hand, and then just give them a genuine compliment. Like, you can't flatter people because they can see through the BS. If you're like, oh my gosh, your shirt, what a nice shirt, but they didn't put effort into it like that, they're gonna know that it's fake.
It's so like wrinkly.
They're like, are you, like, people can tell when someone's being genuine, so you have to pick like a genuine thing that you have noticed, and then you just let them know that you noticed it. It's so easy. And then immediately they're like, oh my gosh, well, I like this on you, and you're like, well, thank you, I got this, you know what, whatever. And then it kind of like, you just get into like a little conversation. Because networking is great. It's great to meet people. You know, if you go into a place and they're like, oh, I'm selling a house, like, immediately, and like, oh, nice, well, let's get it. Like, that's an immediate reaction to networking. But most of the time in networking, you're trying to create long-term relationships. So you want to get to know somebody, especially in real estate. It's so important because it's not like a short transaction. It's not like you go to Walmart and you buy something and boom, the transaction's done. You're going to be working with this realtor at the minimum 30 days. So you have to find someone that you would be comfortable talking to almost every day for the next month or more. So like, communication is key. Communication is important. You need to find someone you're comfortable with. So creating those relationships and networking, you not only meet a lot of people and kind of learn from them, but you can kind of tell who's going to be in your life for a long time. You know, sometimes you create business relationships, other times you create personal relationships. Sometimes it's like both, you know, so it's great. Networking is amazing.
What has been like your favorite client story? Like, being a realtor, like, what has just been your favorite? It's something that you'll hold on to forever. You know, this is something you'll always go back to, and you're like, that was just a great day. That was a great experience. A great 30 days of talking every day, you know?
Well, that's tough because, okay. I I do have transactions that have just been really smooth and great, but I did start right in this surge of when the interest rates were at 1% and 2%. It was such an insane market. So those first few weeks and months, and even like my first year in real estate, was just constant busy. Probably I feel really bad. First of all, I just want to say all my transactions are my favorite. Every single one of my clients have been amazing. I don't think I've worked with any client that I could just be like, well, that was a really difficult, you know, because usually it's not like, it's not like one person or another. You're dealing with lenders, you're dealing with appraisers, you're dealing with inspectors, buyers and sellers and their spouses. You know, like there's so many people that play into one transaction that it's hard to just pinpoint, well, this person was just difficult. Were they difficult, or were they just like frustrated by the situation? You know what I mean? So like, there hasn't been one person that I've liked over another, but one of my favorite ones so far was like my first, my first clients that I really worked with, my first residential clients that I sold to, because my first transaction was all land, which was great, but I was so nervous. They didn't know that they were my first people I'd ever shown a house to. They didn't know that, because I was trying to hide it so well, but like I didn't know what to do. Oh my gosh, you want to buy a house from like me? Oh my goodness, I was just flattered that they chose me, you know. But it's a wife, her husband, and their children, and I just remember I was so broke, girl. I was so broke. I hadn't had a closing. Thankfully for the pandemic, we had the stimulus checks, but I hadn't worked in a year because I had moved down here and I was getting my license, and then everything was closed. Nobody was hiring. You weren't even allowed to like go into buildings, let alone like interview and stuff. So like I hadn't found a brokerage. It was all bad. So I had gotten my job. No money.
It was all bad.
It was all bad. Like bless their hearts, they had no idea, because again I tried to hide it well, but they called me and they were like, you know, they were kind of getting frustrated because they were on a time crunch, and they were like, well, we've got these houses we want to go look at in Clinton. And I was like, okay, sure. I had $20 to my name and no gas in my tank. And of course it was like almost the weekend, so I had to buy groceries for my children. So I literally had to decide to tell these people, I have no money to take you to your showings, or me and my kids just weren't going to eat that weekend. And I was sitting there, I remember like crying a little bit trying to schedule these houses because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, oh God, universe, I just can't. I was like, if you could just, I was like, have them recancel, because I didn't want to be the one. Like, that was one thing I had to learn about this job too, is like, people are so understanding. So if you have to cancel, reschedule, people generally are understanding of that. But at the time, I'd only worked 9 to 5 jobs, so I was freaking out about calling in. I was like, I'm going to lose these people because they're going to find a realtor who can do it today. And so I was getting it all scheduled, and it was like late at night. I'd gotten everything done. I was laying in bed thinking about it, and he texted me and he was like, hey, I'm so sorry to do this to you, but we found the house we want. It's in Warrensburg. Can you please cancel all the houses in Clinton tomorrow? And girl, when I tell you the relief I felt, oh my God. Yeah, because I was like, are you kidding me? No, that's fine. That's totally fine. Not an inconvenience for me at all. We went and looked at the house, we submitted our offer, we got it under contract, and it was my first inspection, it was my first appraisal, it was my first pretty much everything, and it went so great. These people were so understanding. They did ask me one time, they were like, is your job just to follow people and like listen to them talk? Because I was so shy, that's all I did. I was just like, you tell me if you need anything. Now I'm like, oh, this is this, and you know, that and that. Like, I'm so much more communicative, but at the time I was just like,
didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
You don't know what to say if you don't know it.
It's like being on a first date, like a first blind date. You don't know me, I don't know you. Here we are trying to make this work.
Plus, I'm trying to pretend to be a good realtor.
It's like I am a good realtor. I just don't know.
It's your first time. Like, I'm sorry, not good realtor. Seasoned.
Yeah,
realtor.
seasoned. Yeah.
You're pretending to be seasoned.
Yeah.
You're good, but like,
I've done this. Yeah. Like your first time doing anything, you're like, I'm a pro. I swear.
I'm a pro,
you want to convince them you've done it more than anybody and everybody.
Every day.
No.
Like, I feel that.
Yeah, so that's one of my first, that was my first one, and probably my favorite story to tell, just because it was such a stressful time, and people don't realize when they get into real estate, like, they just think you're just gonna immediately get listings, you're gonna get money hand over fist, and like, sure you might, but like, there's so much time in between those closings and those transactions that I just love that story because it's so different from where I am today. You know, so much has changed in just that short amount of time because, you know, they help you gain your confidence, those little things like that, and those people really did. I'm so grateful for them. Jess and Richard, they are amazing. I'm not afraid, yeah, they know. I've already told them since then that they were my first, like, I love them so much.
After the check was given to you and cleared, you're like, yeah, you were my first.
Yeah, just so you know. You can't fire me now, it's too late. But we even still, so, like, she interacts on my stuff. We don't talk as much as, some of my other clients and stuff, but they know that like I'm here for them 100%. She reacts to my things, like we talk, she shares my stuff sometimes if there's like an event going on or anything, or like my giveaways and stuff. So like we still have that connection and things even still to this day. And I hope if they were ever to sell their house that they would choose me because they, you know, obviously I'm going to work as hard as I can for these people. Cause like, again, like you feel like emotionally connected almost, you know, like to these first people you were like with, you know, so like, thanks.
And fighting through that imposter syndrome. I'm sure you felt it. I know I feel it in my, you know, career. I'm like, I know I'm knowledgeable. I took the test, I did the things, but implementing it into real life and having the confidence to show up, you know.
Yes.
But I think when you push yourself and put yourself into those growth, I wouldn't say uncomfortable positions, but growth positions where you're like, I'm going to have to do a lot of growing. I'm going to have to show up as, you know, my higher self today. Like, I got to be her today.
Yes.
I'll be her next year, but I got to pretend that I'm her right now today, and I'm feeling confident, and I can get this done, right? Like,
yes. And you'll thank yourself, too. Like, I thank my little shy self, fresh out of those relationships, not knowing how to talk to anybody. Like, I thank her so much for having the courage to just put yourself out there, you know, because now it's not as hard for me now. Like, it becomes easier, and that's just how practice works. It just becomes easier and more natural, you know. So thank you very much to that poor shy little imposter, because we've come a long way.
I sometimes when I'm journaling or even just like thinking about, you know, I think about my younger self and I'm like, you know what, and I just show that appreciation because she's still in there, right? Like it's still
like your inner child,
inner child,
teen, younger 20s,
and just I think it's really important to, you know, thank them and not be embarrassed and just you did what you could in that moment, right?
Yes.
Like we can always hindsight 2020, you know, you look back, you're like, I should have done that, but with the information you were given and the experiences that you had up to that point, like you can only do the best you can do.
Yes.
So I think that's really important. If you had to give a piece of advice for someone who wanted to be a real estate agent, what would you tell them? And then for prospective sellers and buyers, you know, what piece of advice would you give them?
If you're getting into real estate, I would just, I think a lot of people fall off because they do think that people are just going to hand them homes and it's just going to be an easier process. Be prepared to network, be prepared to cold call, canvassing. That was one of the things that I did heavily, especially when I first got started. I'd be in my heels, it'd be 110 degrees outside and I'm knocking on every door in the neighborhood, telling them, hey, I'm a realtor, I'm here. If you need me, you call me.
So canvassing, can you explain just a little bit about that term, essentially?
It is, essentially you're just it's door knocking. It's just a fancy word for door knocking. You just go from door to door. I would usually have an event, so like if I had an open house or something like that, that's a good way to like have an excuse. Or if you just like have a piece of candy stuck to a business card, that's another good excuse. I'm just a stranger bringing you candy to your home. So,
sounds safe to me.
Yeah, it's not weird. It's not weird. You can check it for knives. I'm not that kind of person.
Check it for knives. A whole knife.
Yeah, just like how you've seen those videos. They're like, oh my gosh, check your kids' Halloween candy. And they'll pan to it. It'll be like a knife sticking in it. It's like, okay, make sure you pay attention. You can't be too careful these days, though. So I get it. But canvassing is just going door to door, and it's a great way to just let people know that hey, I'm here, I'm knowledgeable in this area. If you or someone you know needs assistance, like have them give me a call. Yeah, let's talk. Mm-hmm. You have my number. You officially have my card. We've met, so it's not weird. Mm-hmm. Just come see me. yeah, we're friends now. It's good. So it's good that way too. And just be prepared for it to take a little bit longer than you think. Fortunately, with my broker at the time, they were pretty hands-on getting first started, so he helped me get introduced to like Richard and them, and kind of through that process. So finding a solid broker that you feel good and comfortable with. I've since changed brokers, and it's been such a positive thing with Darcy, my new broker, but you just have to find people who are supportive of you. We talked about networking and stuff and just making those connections, and it works so much better if you have a solid sphere of influence. I have such a bad habit of calling it my circle of friends. It's not your circle of friends, it's your sphere of influence. But to me, it's like my circle of friends. So like, you have to have a good support system, and that's helpful. So probably that to the agents, just whatever idea you have of it right now, just get that out of your head, because it's going to be so much harder than you think.
Okay, good tip.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
It's not easy what TikTok or social media portrays.
You have to really like people too. You're dealing with a lot of personalities, so if you're the kind of person who only tolerates people, it's not for you. I've come to really love and people just because they are their own energies. There's so much you can learn from individuals. To be around people, it can be kind of draining, which is where my introversion kind of comes in, because I can't do it for long, but I do love to be around people. So if you don't, then it's not for you. As far as buyers and sellers, when you're interviewing realtors, just find someone that you click with. I've had plenty of people interview me and it just not be a good fit, whether it was, maybe our personalities or, our pricing opinions or something like that, like whatever it might be, we just didn't clash. And that's okay. That is fine, because it is a very saturated pool. There are other agents. Maybe you have just a different personality style. Go with the person who makes you feel comfortable. But whatever you do, just find a good fit, because you have to work with this person for a while. And that goes with anything. If you're a buyer or seller, you have to pick out a good lender. Find a realtor who can refer you to someone. If you like that realtor's personality, chances are you're gonna like the lender she chooses. So find someone whose opinion that you can really trust. I know that it's very easy right now for people to get listings by just telling a seller that you can upsell. We'll list it for this much over, but it's just not. It's never been my MO to try to swindle or lie to somebody to get a listing. I try to just pride myself on being as honest as I possibly can, because again, it goes back to how would I want to be treated. If this was me, would I want someone to try to lie and say that they could sell my house for $10,000 to $20,000 more just to get it, or would I appreciate their honesty more? Because if you upsell, if you list a house too high, it's going to sit on the market. People are going to wonder what's wrong with it. And that would have been great 2 years ago when it was 1% to 2% for interest rates, but it's just not plausible right now. So just being honest is the most important thing. So finding a realtor you feel like is going to just handle your best interests.
And be honest with you.
And be honest, yeah.
You can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah.
You have a pretty heavy social media presence. You brand yourself very well. Worry-free with Chelsea Lee. Again, the Lee.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But, how has that really impacted your business?
One of the stories I was going to tell as far as my clients, one of my best clients came from social media. It's changed a lot because you just kind of learn and grow. Again, I wasn't heavy on social media.
Or a girl who didn't know what Wi-Fi was when she was 18,
That was so embarrassing. Somebody was asking me what the Wi-Fi password was, and I was like, do we serve Wi-Fi? I was like, what is that? I was so embarrassed. And it was an older man, too, so someone you would think...
it was a coffee shop or something?
Yeah, it was McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I was, oh my gosh. So yeah, he came up to me with
Wi-Fi.
I was like, I don't even know. So, is this a new product? Because I was like, you gotta keep us in the loop about new products. It was so embarrassing.
That's so funny.
I know, and I had to call a manager. I had no idea what this man was talking about. And I'm blushing a little bit right now thinking about it, because I was like, I felt so stupid that day.
That's so cute. I think it's cute. I think it's great. Social media is work. It is work.
Yes.
And so Garrett, my husband, he's not on social media. It's the hottest thing ever. I'm like, hell yeah. He's like,
yes.
He, makes fun of TikTok for, I come up with a new term, Riz. I'm like, oh man, you have no Riz. He's like, that is a made up word. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, charisma. Charisma. Yeah, Riz. Yeah.
Well, Garrett's like, that's just made up. You're so dumb.
It is.
I know. But so I think it's very endearing. But
yeah, yes. Well, It has changed a lot. I actually really enjoy it now. So I didn't so much then. When I first got into it, it was when I was in that relationship, and I was mostly just really curious about what he was doing. Like, you have a Facebook? When I first discovered Instagram, I was like, what is Instagram? Is that like a dating app? She was like, what? No.
Kinda.
Yeah. She was like, you can? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Instagram, what is it? By then I was probably close to like 21, 22. Actually, no, if we were together, I would have been 24. I was 24, 25 before I even knew what Instagram was. So it has changed a lot. It's changed a lot. And people will say, they're like, you're really good at it, you know? And it's honestly just been like watching YouTube, watching other people. One of the things that this woman said when I got into real estate is they were like, take who's ever doing the best and just put your own name on it. You know what I mean? Like, just
try to emulate it.
Yeah, find a way, because like no matter who's doing what, it's not you doing it. So someone's going to connect to you. You're going to have followings just because people connect to you in a different way than they connect with this person. So like regardless of who's doing what, you can do it too.
I think people disqualify themselves all the time by saying, oh, someone else has done that. You know, I can't do it. They did it.
Yeah.
Even if you follow their exact formula, do the exact same thing, nobody can do it the way that you can do it. You know? And I think that's really empowering. Like, even if I love orange and the person who I follow has orange,
but I can still do orange. It's fine. Yes,
that's awesome. So you took definitely some inspiration from other people, and now you have a wonderful platform. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Go ahead and pimp yourself out. Where can people find you on your social media?
So Chelsea Lee is my main personal private Facebook page. I also have Chelsea Lee on IG if you want to give us a follow there.
Now hold up, Chelsea Lee on IG. It's not on Instagram. Like, that's her username.
Yeah. Just to clarify.
Yes, I was gonna say, because I tried to look you up one time. I was like, Chelsea Lee on IG.
Yeah. It's like one thing.
I was looking Chelsea Lee. I was like, I'm on IG. Like, I'm on Instagram. Where is this? You know.
I just liked the rhyming of it, so I was like Chelsea Lee on IG. I was like, that's cute. So it's very
but
cute. I can see that confusion.
It's your username. I'll go ahead and put them in the show notes below, so you can go ahead and click it. You also have a YouTube channel, yeah?
Yes. I can't remember what the name is. Probably just Chelsea Lee on that too. But I do like the week in the life of episodes. I'm still like new and kind of figuring that out, so like bear with me. I might even change it. Yeah. We'll just see. We'll just see what happens there. So I'm excited about it. But Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff.
All
We're
the
here.
things. Yep. Oh my gosh. I think it's personal branding is so important, and you have the blue and the orange. That's why I said orange, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like your theme. And also just like the name. It's iconic. It's perfect. You know, when Garrett and I were first getting together with our last name and stuff, I had switched my usernames 2 months before we got married. I switched it to Logan Lee Miller on everything because I wanted that branding.
Yes.
And I was like, someone's gonna steal it. I know it. I was like, someone's gonna steal my name. Like, I gotta switch it. I asked him. I was like, we were watching TV. I was like, are we gonna get married? He's like, yes, Logan. Like, we've already paid for this and this. I was like, no. But
it's like I'm asking for
like,
reason.
Are we getting married?
Yeah.
Because like I'm gonna go ahead and change everything because
I don't want anybody to steal
because I don't want anybody to steal it. So it's impactful. That's how I mean people I follow on like TikTok or Instagram, their username is how I like remember them. You know,
sure.
Like,
yes.
You know, there's a girl that's like champagne and flowers or whatever, and like that's not her name, but like that's
like
her
you remember that,
you remember it.
That's why I wanted mine to be kind of forefront, because like at the end of the day, I do pride myself on being a realtor and a mom and all of those things, but before any of that other stuff, I am an individual and I am who I am. And for the longest time, like I could go on about my name and like my stories behind that and stuff too, but like it's the name that I picked. I go by Chelsea Lee. I dropped Fowler because it was easy. It was harder for me to be found on social media and stuff. So like Chelsea Lee, that's who I am. That's my name, and I am sure I am my occupation, and I am a mother and all of these things. But that's not who I am. That's not just my identity. Yeah. So I do have my business page and like my name, but at the end of the day, you trying to be the brand.
Yes.
You know.
Exactly.
So.